Welcome to online classes BEO Nalgonda. Good morning to all children. For 10th class students, biology, chapter 3, circulatory system. Topic is single circulation and double circulation. We completely seen in the last class structure of heart, its external and internal structures, and as well as working of heart through cardiac cycle. These are all things we completed in last class. Next one, single circulation and double circulation, today's topic. Single circulation means the blood flows through heart only one time. That is called single circulation. That can be possible in the case of fishes. In the fishes, only two-chambered heart is present. So like that, in the case of fishes, two-chambered heart is present. Into this heart, from all body parts, venous blood, deoxygenated blood enter into the atrium. Like this. From all parts of body, the venous blood or impure blood enter into the auricle. From auricle, it is enter into the ventricle. From the ventricle, it goes to the respiratory organs of fishes, that is called the gills. So gills example. In the gills, it becomes purified. After the purification, it goes to body parts. Okay, that's why in the case of fishes, from all parts of a body, venous blood enter into the auricle. By the contraction of auricle, enter into the ventricle. By the contraction of this ventricle, blood goes to respiratory organs, gills. From the gills, it supplies to all parts of a body. That's why in the case of fishes, through heart, the blood can be flows only one time. That's why it is called single circulation. But later, in the case of amphibians, in the case of reptiles, birds, mammals, three-chambered heart is present in the case of amphibians and reptiles. In the case of birds and mammals, four-chambered heart is present. Already we seen that complete structure of that four-chambered heart like this. This is the four-chambered heart is present in the case of aves and mammals. So one is called the right atrium, then right ventricle, left atrium, left ventricle. Okay. Already we seen in the case of right side of the chambers of heart, impure blood can be flows. From the left side of chambers of heart, pure blood can be flows. Like that separately, pure blood and impure blood can be flows. The impure blood comes through the anterior and posterior vena cava and it goes to lungs. Okay. Then from lungs, through pulmonary veins, pure blood enter into the left auricle to left ventricle and it goes to body parts. Like that, the separation of pure and impure blood can be flows through the heart chambers. So that's why it is called the double circulation. So in the double circulation mainly we can see the pulmonary circulation and systemic circulation. One is pulmonary circulation. So pulmonary circulation is nothing but pure blood circulation or oxygenated blood circulation. Oxygenated blood circulation. You know already, children, how this pulmonary circulation starts from lungs. It is lungs are the respiratory organs. There is a plenty of oxygen. That's why the blood is mixed up with oxygen. That oxygenated blood from lungs to pulmonary veins. Pulmonary veins to left auricle. Left auricle to left ventricle. Left ventricle to left systemic arch. Left systemic arch. And goes to body parts. And body parts too, again it is enter into that oxygenated blood becomes into the impure blood and enter into the veins. So this is called the pulmonary circulation or pure blood circulation or deoxygenated blood circulation. Okay, if you see the flow chart, it can be starts from lungs to pulmonary veins. Pulmonary veins to left auricle. Left auricle to left ventricle. Left ventricle to left systemic arch. This is also otherwise known as aorta. Aorta to body parts and becomes into deoxygenated blood and enter into the veins like anterior vena cava, posterior vena cava. This is called the pulmonary circulation or oxygenated blood circulation. Starts from lungs to pulmonary veins to left auricle to left ventricle to left systemic arch to body parts. Again in the body parts it becomes into oxygenated blood becomes into deoxygenated blood and enter into the veins. Okay, this is called the pulmonary circulation or oxygenated blood circulation. Second one is systemic circulation. So the second one is called the systemic circulation or deoxygenated blood circulation or impure blood circulation. You know very well how the impure blood is started from anterior vena cava, posterior vena cava, that means big veins to right atrium to right ventricle. From the right ventricle there is a pulmonary artery or pulmonary arch is arising. Through pulmonary arch it goes to lungs. In the lungs it becomes into purification. So it is called the systemic circulation. Okay, systemic circulation starts from veins. Anterior vena cava, posterior vena cava. From that anterior vena cava and posterior vena cava, this deoxygenated blood or impure blood enter into right atrium to right ventricle. right ventricle to pulmonary trunk లేదా pulmonary arch. Pulmonary arch to lungs. In the lungs it becomes into oxygenated blood. That deoxygenated blood becomes into oxygenated blood. Okay, that is called the systemic circulation or impure blood circulation or deoxygenated blood circulation. Once again, how it is starting? It is starting from anterior vena cava and posterior vena cava or anterior and posterior veins. That impure blood enter into the right atrium to right ventricle to pulmonary trunk or pulmonary arch to lungs. In the lungs that becomes into oxygenated blood. So like that, in the case of well-developed organisms like human being, there is a 4-chambered heart is present. Due to the presence of this 4-chambered heart, in the right chambers impure blood, in the left chambers pure blood is that is flowing separately. So due to that, there are two kinds of circulations are possible. One circulation is called the pulmonary circulation, or that is a pure blood circulation or oxygenated blood circulation. Second one is called systemic circulation or deoxygenated blood circulation or impure blood circulation. Like that, there is a pulmonary circulation and a systemic circulation. There are two types of circulations are present. That's why it is called the double circulation. Okay, that is the main important point you have to remember. Simply, if the blood flows through heart only one time is called single circulation. 2 times, that is one side is impure and another side is pure blood, is called the double circulation. Okay, understand students? Then next topic, how the evolution of this circulatory system is takes place. Evolution of circulatory system. So next topic, small topic, evolution of a circulatory system. How this circulatory system is evolved. Particularly in the case of first phylum, that is protozoa. Best example is amoeba. Protozoa, example is amoeba. So amoeba body is made up of with only one cell. If it is take that food materials and digested, afterwards becomes into waste materials and eliminated through the body. How these taken food materials can be here, that means transported in the throughout body of a cell, means by one kind of protoplasmic movements are present. That protoplasmic movements are known as Brownian movements. So with the help of protoplasm movements is called the Brownian movements. Through that Brownian movements, what happen? The taken nutrients can be transported throughout the cell. Okay, that is about the amoeba, a protozoa. The next phylum is Porifera. Best example is a different variety of sponges. Porifera means sponges. They live in the particularly marine water. They won't live in the fresh water. Only few of them can be live fresh water. Suppose if they live in the marine water or fresh water, that can be enter into the body, because the body consists of large number of pores. Through that pores, the water can be enter and it can be circulated throughout the body. That system is called the canal system. Canal system. So in that canal system, water currents can be takes place. In the case of sponges, mainly choanocytes are present. So choanocytes are present. That choanocytes consist of large number of flagella. By the currents of this flagella, the materials can be circulated or transported from cell to cell. Here they are parazoans. Body is made up of with many cells. For that many cells, how the materials are supplying means by choanocytes flagellar movements. So in the body, a special choanocytes are present. They consist of a flagella. That flagella can be undergo movements. By that, the water can be, that is move, and with the help of that currents of water, here the food materials and waste materials can be supplied and eliminated to outside. So sponges means, or porifera means, you have to remember flagella and canal system. The next cnidaria or coelenterate. Example is a hydra and a jellyfish. So these are the example. So next phylum is the coelenterates or coelenterata. For that coelenterata, best example is a hydra and a jellyfish. How the materials can be taken, how they digested, how they can be, that is supplies to all body cells. Means here a special, that is cavity is developed. That special sac-like cavity is known as the gastrovascular cavity. With the help of sac-like gastrovascular cavity, the food materials can be digested and afterwards they transported to all cells of the body of coelenterates or hydra or jellyfish like organisms. The next one is a platyhelminthes. For the platyhelminthes, the best example is Fasciola hepatica, liver fluke. Fasciola hepatica. This is called the liver fluke. It is the best example for platyhelminthes. How the circulation is takes place in the Fasciola hepatica? Here the digestive system is so the digestive system is well developed. It is completely branched structure. Due to the presence of these branches, the food materials are directly supplies to all body parts. That is the speciality of a platyhelminthes. For the platyhelminthes, best example liver fluke. It is called scientifically Fasciola hepatica. Then in these organisms, digestive system is well developed and it is completely divided into many branches. Due to that, the food materials are directly, that is goes to all body parts of this platyhelminths. Okay, then there is another system also well developed in the platyhelminths, that is the excretory system. You know very well, they are flame cells. So flame cells also many in the case of platyhelminths. So in the case of platyhelminths, the most of the body can be fulfilled with these two systems, one digestive system and another one is excretory system, flame cells. Next one, nemat helminthes, nematoda. Nemati helminthes, also known as nematoda, roundworms. Or ascaris is the best example. So the next coming phylum is nemat helminthes or nematoda. Best example is roundworms, Ascaris lumbricoides. In these organisms, one coelom is developed, that is called the pseudocoelom. False coelom is present. Okay, pseudocoelom is present. Then that pseudocoelom can be helpful for that is a digestion of food materials and the supplying of food materials. So that is the point you have to remember. Nemat helminthes means best example, roundworms or Ascaris lumbricoides. In these organisms, pseudocoelom is present. That pseudocoelom can be helpful for the digestion of materials and also supply the materials for all body parts. The next phylum is Annelida. So the next phylum is Annelida. Best example, earthworm, Vanapamulu. So in these organisms, the most important point you have to remember. What is the most important point? In the case of protozoa, porifera, coelenterata, platyhelminthes, nemathelminth, different parts are helpful for digestion and transportation of materials. But whereas in the case of Annelida, like earthworms, first time circulatory system is developed. That is the importance of Annelida. In the case of Annelida members only, first time we see the circulatory system. So circulatory system developed first time. Not only that one, in that circulatory system, the pulsatile like that is blood vessels also develop. Here blood vessels are present. Not only that one, to flowing of that blood vessels here, blood also form. So that is the speciality of earthworms. So blood is present here. If you goes to the detail, the blood is reddish in color because presence of respiratory pigment hemoglobin. But here red blood cells are not there. Red blood cells are absent. Due to the absence of that red blood cells, the hemoglobin is present inside the plasma. That's why the blood is reddish in color. Such kind of blood can be flows inside the pulsatile organs blood vessels. That is the point you have to remember about Annelida. So for that Annelida, best example is earthworm. In the case of annelids only, first time in the case of animal kingdom, the circulatory system is developed. In that developed circulatory system, we can find the medium blood is present, and also for the flowing of that blood, the pulsatile organs, blood vessels are developed. Example, in the case of earthworm, on top side of the body, dorsal blood vessel is present, and ventral side of the body, ventral blood vessels are present. Like that, blood vessels also develop. So here another point you have to remember, very important point. Blood is formed, that blood is flows inside the blood vessels. That's why here the circulatory system is known as the closed type of circulatory system. So that is another point you have to remember. Here the medium blood is formed. That formed blood can be, that is flows through the pulsatile organs blood vessels like dorsal blood vessel and ventral blood vessel. That's why the blood is flowing inside the blood vessels. So it is called the closed type of circulatory system. That is the very important point you have to remember about these annelids. That means two specialities. One specialty is first formed circulatory system in the annelida. Second one, here the formed blood is flowing inside the blood vessels. So that's why it is called the closed type of circulation. Okay. The next you comes to arthropoda. Next phylum after annelida, arthropoda. In the case of arthropoda, okay, there is no blood vessels once again. So the blood flows in body cavities. So that body cavities is known as the blood sinuses. Blood sinuses. Another point you have to remember, for arthropoda best example is cockroach. So arthropoda example is cockroach. In cockroach like organisms, the blood is flows inside the blood sinuses. Here heart is present. In the case of cockroach, the heart is 13 chambered. 13 chambered heart is present. It looks like a very long tube. So that heart chambers can be undergo contractions and expansions. By that, blood is flowing into blood cavities or blood sinuses. That's why here the blood is flows inside the blood sinuses. Such kind of circulatory system is known as the open type of circulatory system. Children, you have to remember 2 points. If the blood flows inside the blood vessels is called the closed type of circulation. This is present annelida. Not only annelida, in the case of molluscans like cephalopods and also higher developed vertebrates like that is the fishes, amphibians, reptiles, birds and mammals. Then for the arthropoda, best example is cockroach like organisms. In that blood flows in the body cavities. That body cavities are scientifically known as blood sinuses. Here heart also developed. There is a 13 chambered heart is present. With the help of that heart movements, the blood is flowing inside the blood cavities or blood sinuses. So it is called the open type of circulation. This open type of circulation is present in the case of arthropoda and also so many molluscans. Mollusca. So mollusca phylum except cephalopoda. That cephalopoda members and as well as echinodermata, annelida, in the chordata of fishes, amphibians, reptiles, birds and mammals, closed circulation is present. Okay students, this is about the evolution of a circulatory system. So thank you for listening this lesson patiently. Welcome to online classes DEO Nalgonda. For 10th class students, biology chapter 3 circulatory system. The topic is blood pressure, BP. So what is blood pressure? You know children, always our heart is beating from birth to death. Okay, it starts when we are present in the mother's womb, 21st day. Up to death, it can be beat. Whenever that heart is beating, the pure blood goes through the arteries. Then in the body parts, or tissues, it becomes into impure blood. Through veins, once again it is enter into the heart. Like that, when the heart is working and pumping the blood is flows to body parts to it comes to heart. Whenever that blood flowing through the blood vessels like arteries and the veins, that blood can be exerts some pressure on the walls of arteries and veins or simply blood vessels is known as blood pressure. Okay, heart is pumping, blood flowing through arteries and veins. Whenever that blood is flowing through arteries and veins, here the flowing blood can be exerts some pressure on the walls of these blood vessels, arteries and veins. Such kind of a pressure is known as the blood pressure. Okay. What is the normal blood pressure? How we can detect this blood pressure? Mainly in the heart, you know very well, already you seen with the help of a diagram. Right atrium receives impure blood from anterior and posterior vena cava enter into the right ventricle. Same, left atrium receives the pure blood from lungs and enter into the left ventricle. Whenever these both ventricles are contracted, that contraction is known as the systolic pressure. Okay, systolic pressure. So the contraction of ventricles, by that what happen? In the case of left ventricle, pure blood is present that goes to body parts through left systemic trunk. Then right ventricle consists of impure blood, it can be enter into the pulmonary artery or pulmonary trunk and goes to lungs. Such kind of contraction of ventricles is known as systolic pressure. That can be detected as 120 mmHg. 120 mmHg. Then later what happen? After that is contraction, they becomes into the expansion. That expansion of ventricles is known as the diastolic pressure. So the expansion of ventricles is known as diastolic pressure. That diastolic pressure is 80 mmHg. So normal blood pressure is 120 by 80. So 120 is systolic pressure and 80 is the diastolic pressure. You have to remember how this pressure can be or blood pressure can be detected. You already seen many times when you visit the doctor, he can tie something at this arm portion and see the pressure. So such kind of instrument is known as sphygmomanometer. With the help of a sphygmomanometer, we can detect the blood pressure of a person. So this is the half mark question. You have to remember, children. What is the instrument useful for detecting the blood pressure of a person? For the detecting of a blood pressure of a person, a instrument is using today by the doctors, that is called the sphygmomanometer. So manometer is the instrument generally useful for the detection of the pressure, air pressure. But here sphygmomanometer is the instrument useful for the detecting of the blood pressure, not air pressure, blood pressure of a persons. Okay. So this is the point you have to remember. But whereas in the case of some persons, particularly aged persons, aged persons means those who cross the 45-50 years, we can find this blood pressure is not like that normal 120 by 80. It can be increases. That increased blood pressure is known as the hypertension or high BP. So this is the point you have to remember. Whenever the persons are goes to aged more than crossing of 45 and 50 years, what happen? The blood pressure is not normal 120 by 80. It can be increased. That increased blood pressure is known as the hypertension or high BP. Okay, how this hypertension and high BP is comes to the different persons means there are several reasons are there, like bad habits like smoking and taking of alcohol, and as well as stress and strain. Whenever a person also undergoes stress and strain, the blood pressure can be increases. When the bad habits, when the person is habituated to bad habits like smoking and drinking of alcohol also leads to this hypertension or high BP. And what are the another reasons means sometimes what happen means failure of kidneys or takes place. Our kidneys are always filter the blood. If suppose by any reasons that kidneys are failure, that can also leads to high BP. Okay, sometimes what happen, the persons can be eat more amount of bad cholesterol. That bad cholesterol deposits in the blood vessels. Due to that, the volume of blood vessel also decrease by deposition of cholesterol. That is also leads to high BP. These are the various reasons for this high BP. Okay, for hypertension, one of the most important characters are stress and strain. And second one, failure of kidneys. And third one is accumulation of cholesterol inside the blood vessels. Then another reason is bad habits like smoking and drinking of alcohol. Okay, this is about the high BP. And sometimes in some persons more, that is less than 120 by 80 can be detected by the doctor with the help of this sphygmomanometer. Okay, such kind of pressure is known as a low blood pressure, low BP. Low BP. So what happened, comparing with the normal BP, sometimes it can be detected less BP. That less blood pressure is known as the low blood pressure or low BP. What are the reasons for this low BP? Sometimes when a persons are suffering with anemia, that is a deficiency of blood, that deficiency of blood also leads to this low BP. This is one reason. Second reason, sometimes what happen, through our body by large sweating, some salts we can lose through our body. That losing of that salts also leads to this low BP. So these are the main reasons for the low BP. So what is the one reason? One reason is presence of less amount of blood due to anemia. Then second reason is loss of many salts through sweat, also leads to low BP. Okay, this is about the topic blood pressure. Then we can go to in this system last topic, that last topic is coagulation of blood. So in the circulatory system, the last topic is coagulation of blood, or simply we can say blood clotting. So normally a person undergo, example, wounds, and sometimes with the help of knives and sharp things, the cutting of bodies takes place. Due to that, what happen? Blood vessels can be ruptured. Due to the rupturing of blood vessels, the bleeding is takes place. So, how much time that bleeding is takes place? How much time that bleeding is takes place? Minimum 3 minutes, maximum that is 6 minutes. Within the 3 to 6 minutes, the blood is completely, that is bleeds and undergo clots. Okay, that is called the coagulation of blood. Okay, what happens? Sometimes accidents can be takes place. The total body undergo wounds, and sometimes the sharp things can be cut down our body. Due to that, blood vessels also cut down. Due to that, the bleeding is takes place through our body. Minimum 3 minutes, maximum after 6 minutes, the blood is stopped due to clotting. That is called the coagulation of blood. How it is possible? Means whenever the blood vessel is cut down, maybe small accident or big accident or any that is accidents or takes place, what happen? Blood vessels are cut down and bleeding is taking place. So when the blood is comes to outside, what happen in the blood? There are, that is the 3 types of blood vessels are, blood cells are present: red blood cells RBC, white blood cells WBC, and thrombocytes, platelets are present. Among them, the third cells, platelets, they can be ruptured. They also otherwise known as thrombocytes. That thrombocytes can be ruptured. So when the wound is takes place, blood comes to outside. In the blood, the third blood cells, what are the platelets are present, they can be ruptured, and they releases one kind of enzyme. That enzyme is known as the thromboplastin or thrombokinase. Due to the rupturing of thrombocytes, it is coming. That's why it is known as thrombokinase or thromboplastin. Thrombokinase or thromboplastin. Then what is its importance? In the case of our plasma, there is a chemical material is present that is called prothrombin. On the prothrombin of plasma, this released thrombokinase or thromboplastin enzyme is acts. Due to that, the prothrombin is converted into thrombin. This is the first reaction which is takes place after wound. So whenever there is a wound is takes place in our body and blood vessels are cut down, the blood is coming to outside. In that coming blood or in the drops of blood, this platelets can be ruptured and releases the enzyme thrombokinase or thromboplastin. That thrombokinase or thromboplastin that is acts on the prothrombin of plasma. This is released from liver and enter into our blood plasma. So plasma containing prothrombin, this with the help of this thrombokinase enzyme converted into thrombin. Then in the next step, this thrombin, acts on okay. In the next step, this thrombin acts on another plasma containing material that is called fibrinogen. On that fibrinogen, this thrombin is acts and converted into, that is a fibrinogen converted into fibrin. By that what happen? A network like structure is formed on the wound portion. Due to that what happen? The blood cells come and that is stick in that that is network. Due to that, the further flow of blood is stopped. That further that is flow of blood is stoppage is known as the coagulation of blood. This is the second reaction. And another point you have to remember, this prothrombin and fibrinogen, both of the materials are present in the blood plasma, both of them are secreted by our liver. So the liver secretes these two materials and send to our blood plasma. In the blood plasma, what are these two chemicals are present secreted by the liver? They are helpful for the blood coagulation. Not only these things, and also helpful vitamin K also. Already in the first lesson you learn this vitamin K also helpful for coagulation of blood. When the deficiency of this vitamin K also leads to what happen, that is prolonged bleeding is takes place. Like that, this prothrombin, fibrinogen, thrombokinase, thrombin like materials, and also vitamin K also plays main important role in the case of that is coagulation of blood. Then another 1 or 2 points how to remember, particularly between the marriages between the close related, that is families. What happen? Sometimes this blood coagulation is not takes place. Delaying of blood coagulation is takes place. That can be leads to prolonged that is bleeding. Such kind of hereditary disease is known as the hemophilia. So hemophilia is one kind of hereditary disease. It is caused in the persons who are, that is born by close related marriages. Due to the close related marriages, what are the children born? They, that is suffer with hereditary disease hemophilia. By that, the blood not clots very quickly, not within 3 minutes it is not takes place, and prolonged bleeding is takes place. That is called hemophilia. It is a hereditary disease, that is gets from parents to offsprings or children. Okay, next one, thalassemia. This is another blood disease. In this blood disease, mainly in the persons, it is also one kind of hereditary disease. In these children, mainly hemoglobin is deficient. So the sufficient amount of hemoglobin is not present in the blood. The deficiency of hemoglobin leads to this thalassemia. This is also another kind of hereditary disease. This is about the topic coagulation of blood. Thank you, students. This is the topic that is listened patiently. Okay, right.